is Keyed In with Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. And now, here are your hosts, Max Rabin and Brent Jackson.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Keyed In podcast. I'm Max Rabin.
I am Brent Jackson.
We've got State of the Market today with our power guests.
Power guest.
Rob Sanders, what's up?
How are you? Thank you.
And Jenn Smira,
hello.
super agent. And we're going to talk about what's going on in the news with real estate and some local news that just hit that we're all like, can't believe.
But wait. What about the state of the market or state of the art studio that we're in now?
Oh,
different
right.
from before.
We're in a new space. Our studio, he took over, Selchuk at Switch and Board here, which is where we record our podcast, took over the second floor of the building, and we're in a more fireside chat kind of ensemble today. What do you think, Jenn?
Yeah, I'm really loving the velvet chair. It's very nice.
Is it too oversized for you?
A little bit, but it's okay. It's okay.
All right.
Just gonna relax.
Rob has like a very like cool like Christmas vibe going with his jacket
with
and
the green.
Yeah.
I mean, truth be told, I wore a Gucci tie here because I knew Jenn was coming. So
Is that mauve? What color is that?
It is officially Merlot.
Oh.
You said it was moth?
Mauve.
Moth. I don't even know what color that is.
According to the
They don't have that in West
Purple.
Virginia, right?
They don't, no.
I
Stay with the
remember
rainbow.
I remember
I call it
mauve.
red.
That's
Yeah,
like
Merlot. Yeah.
Mauve is one of the colors she wants to paint the house in Beetlejuice. That's the reason I know that color.
Yes.
Okay.
Mauve.
No
It's
offense
very
at all,
nice.
Rob.
You look
Thank
very
you.
nice, and I do like the tie.
Thank you.
How did you remember that? Beetlejuice and moth.
Because
Did you just
she's-
recently watch that?
Yeah, with the kids, like I'm showing them every '80s movie now, and so yeah, that came up.
Goonies.
Yeah, totally. All right, so we're talking about state of the market. We're going to talk about everything that's going on in the real estate market, obviously. But the big news right now is that Ted Leonsis, who is the owner of the Washington Capitals and Wizards, has seemingly signed a deal as of today to move the two teams out of Washington, D.C. to Northern Virginia to Potomac Yard, which is sort of between Crystal City and Alexandria. Brent's a huge basketball fan and a season ticket holder for the Wizards. Jenn, you're a huge Hoops fan, too.
Huge. Yes.
And so,
Used to be a season ticket holder.
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah, and
I
yeah.
used to be.
Teams started to slip. People started to leave.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, I mean, so I just want to start by saying, yes, my family was season ticket holders for the Bullets and Wizards from like probably from the late 80s, early 90s. And then when they opened the MCI Center before it was Capital One Arena, that was a big deal. And that was a real, that was a boon for downtown DC. Abe Pollin built the building. He owned it. It brought a lot of new businesses to downtown. And then when Michael Jordan signed with the team, which no one really expected to happen, but when he signed with the team, that was like, 2002, early 2000s, early aughts.
So how long was the team there before was that like maybe 5 years?
Yeah, roughly.
Right.
But when Jordan was here, even though the team wasn't awesome, they were mediocre, but it was Jordan. Every night that place was packed, and it was a scene, and all the other businesses around there started to thrive. I remember coming down there, and new signage was up. The place was really buzzing, and it was like that for it kept going. And then we had some great years with Gilbert Arenas and that team. And since then, we know what problems downtown has right now.
Totally.
And that Penn Quarter, Chinatown area has like taken a little bit of a slide. Mm-hmm. This would be really troublesome for the team to move.
Huge.
Both teams to move.
Where did the team? So I know they moved from the current convention center. What is that, like 5 blocks
What?
to the MCI? The convention center, where the site was to where it is now.
I didn't even know that, the original
But
site.
where were you? I mean, like, so when you guys had to take it in the 80s, like, where was
Oh,
the
that was
arena?
out in Landover, Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was called the Capitol Center, and then the U.S. Airways Arena before it was demolished.
Okay.
That was way out in Maryland. We used to drive around the Beltway in rush hour traffic to go to those games, and it was out there,
Right.
not too far from where FedEx Field is.
Yeah. For some reason, I thought it was where the convention center is or
No.
like where City Center is, but it was never there.
Nope.
Interesting.
So, Jenn, what do you think about this?
I'm crushed.
You're crushed.
I mean, I can't imagine what will be on that site. I mean, what downtown DC will be like without two major sports teams. I mean, what does that mean for our city? I mean,
Right.
like the energy, like the excitement that both the Caps and the Wizards bring. It's just like I don't want to go over to Virginia.
It's 1.5 miles, according to Ted Leonis.
So close, yet
yes,
so far.
So close, exactly.
I mean, it's
It
not
sucks.
good.
Brent, you're a huge hoops fan. You also play basketball. You've got kids. You're a big supporter of the Wizards. You have great season tickets. If they truly move, this actually happens, would you still buy season tickets and go to the games?
I'm not buying season tickets next year. And there's other reasons for that. I think he did the fans a disservice when he jacked up the prices. I don't know if it was 15 or 20% from last year.
Mm-hmm.
And then the product that you see on the floor right now is not commensurate with the prices we're paying. So sorry, but it's not commensurate with what's the product on the floor. And I think in a business, they should have probably dropped the prices 20% and like really reel in your fan base.
Absolutely.
Like we're going like 3 to 5 years, all in build. We want you to stick with us, not the reverse. So that's my issue for not getting the tickets. Going down to Virginia, I can go down to Virginia, but I just, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Route 1 and all that other stuff.
But it's also the fan experience. Like if you go to other arenas around the country, other basketball games, it's an entirely different fan experience.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it just starts from like the top down to your point. And as I was a season ticket holder, they know they give me a gift. You know what they gave me? A men's extra large t-shirt. It's like, know your customer.
Right.
Know who you're working with.
Right.
They could easily send something out, give us your t-shirt size, but they give me a men's extra large t-shirt as a thank you. It's like, fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the cotton's not even nice. It's like whatever the company is. It's like
it's a
the-
crappy T-shirt.
It's a
I mean,
crappy
but
t-shirt.
yes.
It's like you'd scrub the toilet with it. You don't want to wear it.
Listen, if this again,
Sorry
it's
for the
not
bad
decided.
language.
It's totally fine. It's still family friendly. It's fine.
We don't have kids listening anyway.
The team needs a reboot. There's no question. Like complete reboot. Not just the players. I think it needs to go through a marketing reboot, and obviously the fan experience. And it's clear that like whatever's going on with the team right now in terms of income, the culture of the team has been terrible for years. This could be what that team needs to make it attractive for like the best talent to come here, because they could have a practice facility next to the arena. It's a new, like totally new facility, super high end. That's what these guys want.
I mean, absolutely. I mean, do they like going over to Congress Heights for practice?
Probably not.
I mean, no,
Yeah.
probably not.
Probably not.
And most of them don't live in downtown D.C. They're living in Maryland, Virginia, or what have you. It's probably a hassle for those guys to come down. The other thing, I mean, not to put this on administration, but it's I mentioned in a text to you guys earlier, it's a buyer and a seller, right? Like Ted Leonis is the owner. He owns the team.
Mm-hmm.
He has bidders for the property, so to speak. Virginia's rolling out the red carpet. DC should have been the same way. It's like he wants $600 million, do an escalator up to $1 billion, because this is a $3.8 billion a year revenue generator. And the hole that's going to leave in downtown, as we've mentioned, I don't know, like the Clara Bartons of the world, the Lafayettes,
Right, those different
Matter
condo buildings around the area,
Studios,
yeah.
City Center, like what's going to happen? And you've already got downtown with work from home. These law firms and other businesses are coming in or 1-2 day a week. I don't know what this future of the city looks like downtown.
Right, I agree with you. Rob, you're not a big sports guy, right?
I'm not. No, but I'm more of a big. I get to hear all of Brent's complaints about who wins, who loses, et cetera, et cetera. But for me, I'm acting as a realtor here, right? And
Sure.
immediately, I think of all the buildings we've sold in. Jenn, Brent, all of us have sold from Terrell Place, Gallery Place, Clara Barton, Lafayette, all of them, and the Artesian. That building's got its own issues right there. And I'm thinking that really is gonna just lead that place bankrupt. And I'm thinking of all of our people that we put in there. It's really devastating news for me as a real estate agent, because we put a lot of people in there, and I just don't know what to do. And I'm thinking that Gallery Place was the artery for a reason, right?
Yes.
Will they keep Gallery Place or shut down that metro stop, right? It does make me wonder. It's really not good news at all. But then on the flip side, I used to live in Potomac Yards. So, I go back to when Pulte built that community, and I'm thinking, wow, this is going to be fantastic for Potomac Yards. But then I thought about all the traffic when I lived there 5 years ago. Route 1 was
Right.
almost gridlocked. Well, now it's going to be gridlocked. They shifted Route 1 to Potomac Avenue. Those are your two main streets, and both of them are a nightmare. So
let's flip the script here. As a realtor, someone calls you in Clara Barton this week, and again, it's not a done deal. I mean, it's trending that way. But someone calls you from the Clara Barton, again, what is that, 616 E Street, right across the street. What are you saying to the seller?
So for me, I'm thinking that we're 2028, right? So we've got time, right? Like already my own group and our realtors are writing back to us, will you stop worrying about this? It's 4 years out. But I would push my people to maybe kind of hold out a little bit, as far as, I would say hold out for more of an interest rate and a change that would make it better for them, as opposed to rushing to get out of there now. No reason, because like you said, it's not a done deal. But, I think in 24, we're obviously going to see, my prediction is the rate decrease. And I think those people, I would probably be sending them notes about, okay, let's think about getting out of Clara Barton. Let's think about getting out of Lafayette, et cetera, et cetera. So,
Jen, what about you? So an investor calls you from outside of outside of the DMV and says, I'm looking to park $1 million somewhere. Are you recommending or pushing down at Potomac Yards because of this news?
I mean, that's a lot of single family housing stock, so then you have to look at the rent.
Right.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, unless it's like, pre-construction townhouse,
Right.
or there's,
They sign LeBron James.
Yes, but there's no doubt that those home values are going to increase even further with the addition of Amazon and with this future arena, which we'll probably call the Amazon Center.
Right, there you go.
I think it's great for our clients who want to live in Alexandria if we can position them in the neighborhoods, around there. But it's going to be a big boost for Old Town.
Yeah, no doubt.
Big boost.
And I think Jen touched on the exact thing that we're hearing already from the people that we've sold in Potomac Yards, because we live there, was the fact that they're fee simple homes. And these people are writing, we don't really want that. We're not a condominium project like downtown. We have one condominium right now, the Dillon condo, right there, right, brand new, in Potomac Yards. The rest are all apartments on Oakville Triangle. All of them are apartments. Then we have the beautiful Pulte, all townhomes that are 1.2 to 1.5. Those people don't want it. It's not a condo community. They keep calling it, it's not Chinatown. No. So they didn't ask for it. So that's why you're going to start seeing the protests and all that. But,
well, I mean, that's NIMBYism. We see that everywhere.
True.
Something, but that's a big chunk of whatever.
You spent 1.5 on a townhome, though. It just makes you wonder a little bit, like.
There's a big chunk of land sitting next to you, right, in one of the most important areas of the entire country, and you buy a place, and there's a big empty piece of land, or a piece of land with some big box stores and a big field of parking spaces. You think that someone's not going to build on that eventually? I mean, let's get real. It's right next to National Airport, and okay.
And usually, as stadiums come into play, the first couple of years, it's a happy marriage. Everybody loves it. It's amazing. Look at Nat Stadium. Everybody loved Nat Stadium for the first 10 years, and now that the neighborhood's shifting a little bit, that's a whole nother story. But
true.
Patco in San Diego, that's another one. Kind of built a whole infrastructure, and people love it. They're excited. And then a lot of it does depend on the team. If the team just flat out sucks, it could also bring a lot of riffraff to the neighborhood as well.
Or it's just a disappointment. But the LeBron idea I like, though, because it's okay, we're moving the team, and it's we're making a big splash with an ancient LeBron James whenever this is going to happen, right? And it's the redo of the Jordan experience here, right? Something like that.
They should draft Bronny
I was
year.
just thinking that. I was just thinking that.
Just get Bronny, put him on your roster. He stays in USC another year. Who cares? You're building the arena. It's years to come. So.
But Max, you make a really good point. Building this world-class facility, practice facility.
Yeah, they have it all in one place. They can put all the high-end restaurants into the stadium. They can do it all. What they're doing what they're trying to do right now is retrofit everything and bring in they we'll get off this in a second, but those luxury tables they put into Capital One Arena, so the season tickets for this luxury dining experience in the stadium. It's just very awkward what they've done.
Oh yeah, with Jose Andres.
Yeah, but it's just. It seems so contrived. But when you build a new facility, all of that can be done in a way that's very interesting,
So I guess Ted is the most powerful man in Washington right now.
I'd say.
Well, he has the most influence, right?
Yeah.
Definitely.
So I mean, you have the three. You have the learners, which they're looking to sell the team, but the team's not going anywhere anytime soon. Then you have Josh Harrison. Like, that's going to be the next play. Like, you want to see if DC rolls out the red carpets. But to Rob's point earlier, there's already because I'm in Capitol Hill, there's already backlash. Like, you don't want a huge, 60,000 stadium that is used 16 times a year or 10 times a year, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right.
This is like a sports. I feel like we're on the fan.
Yeah, this has become sports radio. And I know Rob loves it.
Rob is sitting there.
Sign me up for another session.
Well, I'm really fascinated by these two because I know they're both completely their knowledge on sports is they could go against each other all day long. They're both really into it. So.
We also wonder if like Jeff and Ted had conversations behind closed doors. Like, I'll come here and then you know.
Oh,
Yeah, it's the
I
Amazon
think
Center.
they talk.
Right.
Okay.
It's the Amazon Center.
Yeah. No doubt. Easy
You heard it here
branding.
first.
Easy branding.
Maybe Jen was in these conversations.
Yeah. All right, let's get some real estate topics going here. And who wants to start off? Like I have some articles and some topics, but Jen, do you have something you want to start with?
Wow, you guys are. Let me go first.
Hot seat.
Wow, yeah, ladies first. You guys are all gentlemen. I love it. Let's see. Well, there's a lot of chatter about NAR. I guess it's appropriate to start with that.
It's fine.
Yes. I think what people are not talking about is the jury that was selected.
Okay.
The jury that was selected was made up of individuals who had never bought or sold real estate. Did you know that?
No, I did not know that.
No, did not know that.
Isn't that interesting?
Okay. I was reading more about the attorneys, but I didn't know about the jury.
Yeah.
Okay.
My friend Julie Provenzano, she's an amazing agent in Dallas, Texas. She pointed this out. They were, in fact, if you had bought or sold real estate in the last 10 years, you were deemed ineligible.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the
that's
people
one
hearing
thing
this
that
case did not have any personal experience
they had
with.
no idea what we do
Okay.
or what the experience is like or how to buy and sell real estate or what's involved.
But if you flip that real quick, would you want somebody that has experience or not? Because you know they're going to be swayed one way or the other. If you have someone that has had a successful sell, they're probably going to say, let's go with the agents or vice versa. They
But if
just
you
had
get
a
Rob
really
Sanders on that jury as the foreman, I mean, we know which way that's going.
Right.
So
You know it.
that
I'm
jury
sorry.
has to be as impartial as possible. It's tricky. That's a tricky case all in all, though. But I don't know how much you've read about it, probably a bit. But the attorneys that worked on it, having to like time it just right and figure out how to approach it, what jurisdiction to approach it, because we know that like I wouldn't say the general public, but realtors have always been a great target for people. You guys make too much money. You make money too easy. You're charging too much. We've heard that forever. And these attorneys have always been looking for this, like, to get in this bloodbath, right? And they picked a really great moment and a good spot, and they got the right jury.
Well, here's the other, important fact that people aren't talking about. Of the 9 jury members, 7 of which were men. In our
Industry.
our industry is made up of 66% women.
Right.
So in a female-dominated industry, there are 9 men jurors. Now, for real estate, like this is an industry that has given women power. There's women that are CEOs. There's women that are running their own businesses. And I just find it really interesting that 7 are men, or were men, excuse me.
That's interesting. I'm sure
As
that
I sit here with you guys.
with
Surrounded by men.
Yeah, by
25%.
men. It's usually
75% men.
75% men, 25% women.
66%, it's a female-dominated industry.
It absolutely is.
So
Very.
these are just 2 things that people aren't really talking about.
Yeah, and I think
this
in
jury.
general, the perception that's out there, again, I've mentioned this on the podcast before, 13 jurisdictions in the country have buyer agency agreement. We're in the DMV, which has 3, DC, Maryland, and Virginia. So where this collusion is taking place, I was reading it again this morning, it's like, and I'm from West Virginia, you go in and it's like the fee is X, and the sellers will just agree to it. You're not really talking about the other side. Like when we go into a listing presentation, it's like our fee is this. We're going to offer this to the other side.
Sure.
The higher the commission, in theory, maybe the more agents are going to show it. So gotta be
Agreed.
careful what we say on this as well, so we don't get thrown into
I don't.
police jail.
I think that it's okay to. Well, what do I know? But I think it's okay to discuss like how this actually works in practice from jurisdiction to jurisdiction to the degree that we know it. We know how it works here. We've always been very good at disclosure with this kind of stuff. And when we're asked like, what do you guys charge? We explain how what our company charges, or what we're willing to offer this at. Mr. Seller, what would you like to see as the commission? How does cooperating commission work? I've been doing this for 20 years, and it's always been the same. Now, the one thing that has changed is now our company policy is like, absolutely 100% must have buyer agency agreements signed. And it needs to be the buyers need to understand like what that means.
Right.
Because we don't know when we're going to start running into this, when we might see a listing pop into MLS with 0% buyer agency commission. I haven't seen any like that yet. We've certainly seen like reduced commissions throughout our careers,
Right.
but I've never seen a 0, right? Have
Right.
you?
No.
Rob? No.
And what's weird is, I'm hearing from a lot of people, like our clients that are calling me up going, what are you guys going to do? What's going on? And my answer would be, I could say Brent and I are 75% listing agent, right? We're not really a buyer's agent per se, but now we've watched a lot of things have changed over the last 8 months. We've been picking up a lot of buyers. But people forget everything is a negotiated item. Commission is a negotiated item. When you go in, we're 6%, but we negotiate. Right? So when we go in there, a lot of times the seller will go, well, Redfin will do it for 4, and it's up to us to negotiate that. So there is no really hard stance that we take when people think, oh, it's 6% and they make so much money. What happens in the end when we follow the transaction through and we find out, and I'm sure you've done this many times, we've had to kick in because of a huge inspection item that couldn't be done. Well, that takes our commission down to average maybe 4%. So, you got to really follow the transaction all the way. They look at the listing agreement you may have signed at 6, but in the end, we end up being paid 3.8%. So, again, it's a negotiated item, right? There is no set tool. Even though we go in, we do negotiate.
That's why I think this case is really for folks like us who've been doing this for a long time, and we're out here in the trenches. When we see that, there's so many questions and things about the way we work and the industry that are completely unanswered when you see these headlines, and they love to splash this stuff. But the nuance of what we do and how we're paid, it's not set in stone, and it's not predetermined.
Correct.
And it's a whatever.
It's
we don't.
For
Preaching
the
to the
most part,
choir
everything
here.
is negotiated,
Yeah.
right? Even if you go to your attorney and you want to have some legal work done, or like my billable rate's $2,000 an hour, like can you get it for $1,500 an hour? It's negotiable.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
But it
Jenn-
is a black eye on the industry, right? Because
Sure.
as Rob mentioned, like sellers are asking about it, buyers are asking about it. People that aren't even in the market to buy or sell are asking us what our thoughts are on this. I think
Yeah,
I told this. Go ahead.
Yeah, I had an appointment.
That's what I was gonna ask you.
Yeah, I just had an appointment, and this woman, she mentioned it, and I said, yeah, quite frankly, any of my clients, my seller clients, are more than happy to pay a commission to sell their house, especially right now.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. Good
and she's
point.
like, well, I get it to pay you, but I don't get it paying the other side. And I was like, well, yeah, I think you would if we received an offer to sell your house for what we're talking about. I think
Right.
you'd be happy to pay a commission, right?
right?
And
Good point.
she said, yeah.
Yeah, she was into that.
But it is coming up because it's all over the headlines. But
Yeah.
I also feel that we're in a market where our clients are accustomed to fee-based services, whether it's our attorney or your designer or your therapist. We're accustomed to exceptional service to do what we need.
Totally agree.
The other component to that is we're in a softer market than we were 2 or 3 years ago. What happens when the market pivots
Yeah.
and you see multiple offers again, and a seller comes to us and says, I'll let you be the listing agent at X. I'm not paying a buyer agent. There are going to be some agents, new, veteran, hungry, that are going to cave and say, you know what, I'll take this listing at this price because I know it's going to sell, and I'll let the buyer agent figure out the back end of that. I mean, that's coming down the pipeline.
Sure.
When? No clue.
Well, I think that companies have tried this before to discount brokerage fees.
Yeah.
And maybe someone has the business model where that works, but I think a lot have failed. Unless you're going to do that at a very extreme scale, it's tricky because, life and business costs money.
Mhm.
And you're going to have to turn a lot of sides at like a 1% commission to make ends meet, right? or whatever. I'm not. I mean, as an example.
That's on the buy side, though. If you're on the list side, though, again, it's, as Rob mentioned, we're 75% listing side. So it's that where you're in front of a seller, they have a hot property, you know it's going to sell. They're only going to give you X on your side.
Right.
The buyer agent has to figure it out. Right. And I know the firm's policy. I'm sure other firms are very similar, but it's at a certain point, it's going to pivot and it's going to change where the buyer is going to have to pay for their representation. Right. Like we're talking about this lawsuit. I'm sure they've got the fees wrapped up to where NAR is going to have to pay if they lose. But in most cases, you pay for your legal fees. The other side pays for their legal fees.
I think Jenn touched on a good point a minute ago about we are in a fee service industry, right? If that was not correct, then we would have a lot of first sale by owners, and we don't have that here, especially in our Washington metro area. If they're going to talk about the commissions, then all of them can just put up their own for sale by owner. And how come we don't see that? How come
That's a good point.
That's not even 1% here.
We might until people realize how hard it is.
Correct.
And
Well-
that might happen.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it plays out.
Right.
And obviously, there was this one major case in Missouri, and then there's other cases sprouting up, and it's a legal process. We'll see how it goes. There's appeals, and we're going to run into it in our appointments. And to our listeners, we're interested to hear if you're running into it too. So like, we want to talk about this more and find out what's really going on in the street, right?
Right.
Yeah. All right. Another thing that's come up a lot lately is overall affordability of housing. High interest rates, prices have gone up quite a bit over the last 3 years. Where's my article here? Redfin says 2023 was the least affordable year in home buying. In 2023, someone making the median income in the U.S., which was over $78,000, would have had to spend more than 40% of their income on monthly housing costs if they bought the median priced home, which is around $400,000. And that's up 3% from last year. This past year, a typical home buyer had to earn an income of at least $110,000 if they wanted to spend a maximum of 30% of their income on monthly housing payments for a median priced home. That is a record high, is up 8.5% from last year, and $30,000 more than the typical household income. It's very expensive to buy a house right now. Jenn, your thoughts?
Yes, it's expensive. It's like 2 times what it was. A year and a half ago, even.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the issue. Is that it's more affordable to rent than buy right now. But the buyers that I'm seeing emerge in this market have a very strong cash position, and I'm sure you guys are seeing that too.
Yep.
We're seeing a lot more money in the market. We're seeing a lot more cash. It's also, I think, a great time to enter this market. I think I read, or I did read, 25% of contracts that were ratified in October had price adjustments or seller concessions. So, while it's more expensive, I think there is a segment of the population who still want to own property.
For sure. Rob, in a market where the table's a little flipped, in terms of the business that we're in, where if renting is that much more affordable than buying right now, if you have a buyer coming to you saying like, I want to wait, I want to be on the sidelines, how do you advise your buyers right now? It's
funny you just bring that up, because yesterday I got an email from a client who moved to North Carolina, and they're like, hey, can you send me what it would be, to be a first-time home buyer in North Carolina? The properties up there are $400,000 for a fee simple. I had the lender write it up, sent him the payments, right? He wrote back and he put, it's exactly what I thought, that it's cheaper for me to rent than to purchase. I immediately pulled over to the side of the road and I typed a long written, what about all the tax implications that you would be benefiting from the fact that this property would go up in the next 2 to 3 years and you're getting that tax break? Have you thought about that? And then you're getting an increase in your income every 12 months, right? You just told me you got a huge promotion. You made $45,000 more than you did the year before. So I kind of wrote all that out, and then I had to throw in a little bit about a buy down and started, acting like I was a lender at that point. But to me, I'd never forget about the tax implications about being a homeowner.
Okay.
Period. I think, and this is just me, and I've rented before, if you're renting, you're throwing your money out the window. That's just my take. And people would say, you're going to say that because you're a realtor. But I don't believe you get any benefit whatsoever by renting.
Well, here, all right, I'll play devil's advocate. So let's talk about the condo product in DC. Obviously, they're still building plenty of new condos. But if you're looking at a place to live downtown DC, and you're looking at some aging condo buildings where their fee structure has gone up, obviously, insurance, maintenance for certain buildings built in the pick your year, anywhere from like 1920 or 1930 to the 1960s and 70s. We know all these buildings, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And they're building brand new rental units down the street with every possible adorable amenity you could imagine, like a bocce court up on the rooftop, a dog park on the rooftop, maybe a swimming pool, a front desk that takes your packages, and all these things. And the monthly cost to rent there is $4,000 and something, and the monthly cost to buy the condo is like $6,000 and something, in the aging condo where the fee goes up. Do you see, like, this is what we run into
This
downtown?
is the problem.
Yeah,
like
correct.
City Ridge, for example.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
For $4,000, you can get a one-bedroom den.
Yeah.
All these amenities.
Live over top
and then
of
you take them
Wegmans.
over to Glover Park.
Yeah.
And parquet floors.
Yeah.
Tired. Building's a little tired.
Right.
Elevator kind of inches up. Yeah, it's hard. It's tough.
I think it changes the pricing structure over time for the condo product, as it always has. Obviously, the more new product they build, the more the old product, it becomes tricky. It becomes more location based, right?
I think the renting comes in, and I'm sure I'll get backlash from saying if you rent, you're throwing your money out. I was a renter when I came out of college, right?
Sure.
I rented at Capitol Hill on H Street. I think about it. The rental will come in at a particular place in your life, whatever chapter you're in at that point, but it isn't the one that you should just rely on. You should strive to be a homeowner because, again, the tax implication is a huge benefit for you.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I was reading that most homeowners that have owned in the last 3 years have at least $100,000 in equity. I just read that.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, to your point, you're spot on. And if they're spending the $4,000 a month, what's $48,000 a year over 2 or 3 years, down payment. So, you just have to do the math. Right. I think for people who are going to stay in the city or they're going to be here for a while, purchasing is the right move.
Correct.
And it's an investment, right? So, I mean, a lot of consumers it's like rent, invest the difference. But a lot of times, if there's a $2,000 delta between renting and buying, they're going to take that $2,000 and go buy Taylor Swift tickets or a car or something like that. So, yes, you might be saving money on the rent, but you're not getting the equity, the tax write-offs that you mentioned, and you're essentially blowing the rest of your money. Even if you put it into the stocks, bonds, things like that, it's not a guarantee that they're going to go up. I've pivoted my mindset. I think when the rates started to go up, my own mindset was, God, it's so expensive. It's crazy. And then along the way, I pivoted my mindset that it's a great time to buy because you can go in, and I'm recommending this to most of our clients, not if a property's been on the market for a couple of days, but let's go in at 20% off, right? And Beverly's like, you think we can do that? I'm like, sure. I mean, go in 20% off. Maybe you settle between 10 to 15%, but when the market pivots, rates get down to 4 and 5, you're going to be back in the same boat where it's 20% over list. So there's a, 30 to 40% swing in just value. You can't change the contract price. When rates come down, you can change the rate.
Yeah.
It made me think when we were talking about rental to purchase. In 2001, I was in an apartment in DuPont, the beautiful Apollinaire, at $1,800 a
Abe
month.
Pollin for the NBA fans.
There you go. That was going to be my quiz question to all of you, but I figured you'd get it because most people don't know.
Wait,
that Abe Pollin built the Apollinaire.
That's why it's named that?
Yeah.
Oh my!
For the Apollinaire.
He lived on the
know
10th
that.
I
floor.
actually didn't know that.
You didn't know that?
No,
Wow.
no.
He had the top. He had 2 units on the very top, and he would, because of that heated pool, he would be seen swimming at 7 a.m. up on the pool there. Very cool. But anyway, at paying $1,800 at the Apollinaire, which is a fantastic building, love the location. My first purchase in Washington was Solo Piazza.
Right.
It was $219, and it was 8% interest rate. My payment was going to go from $1,800 for rent to $2,400. Now you're talking a young individual, not making a lot of money, just starting out. I don't think I was in real estate at that point, and I justified, you know what? You're going to make money. The next year you're going to get into real estate. You're going to go ahead and make some money. You're going to meet Brent Jackson. You're going to end up. In the end, it worked out. Within 2 years, I sold that property, and it was $200,000 appreciation. So, Did I struggle a bit? Did I go from 1,800 to mentally saying I'm going to pay 2,400 at 8%? That was huge for me, but I adjusted accordingly. So.
Yeah. I think what we're seeing is we're seeing a lot of first-time home buyers just squeezed out of this market just solely based on the affordability.
Yeah.
It's less expensive to rent than to own. Whereas, several years ago, you can remember back to how many first-time home buyers you were helping. And DC had incentives. You guys remember the DC first-time home buyers tax credit?
Yeah.
We need Bowser to do some other things.
Yeah,
but one of the other things is bring that back for these first-time home buyers.
True.
And that population, Gen Z, millennials, a lot of them are working from home. They're not going to the office, so it's affecting our condo sales.
Their mindset also is not to be tied down to a location. They can pick up and go to Miami, Boston, New York, San Francisco. So buying a place, you're somewhat married to that city.
Yeah.
Where some of these guys are like, you know what, I'm done with DC. I'm going to go to San Francisco and work now.
Yeah, I just had clients. I met with them. They're moving to Asheville. I was like, God, could I go? They're moving to Asheville. They're keeping their DC jobs, DC salaries, and they're going to live in the mountains, and I'm going to sell their Parkview place. So, it's...
I was just down in, I have a lot of family in
Did
North
you go
Carolina.
to that appointment too?
I was right, yeah.
I won it.
Yeah, I guess I know they won't be working with me. No, I was just down in North Carolina for Thanksgiving. I have a lot of family down there, and my cousin who lives in Petworth, my cousin and her husband, they bought here, they were working here, then pandemic came, and their whole lives are online now. And the husband's an artist, so he's very free, right?
Yeah.
And they're moving back to North Carolina, to the country, because they don't have to put up with city BS if they don't want to. And that's kind of, I don't know.
So what are they going to do with her place?
What's that?
What are they going to do with Power?
They're going to rent. They're going to rent it out. I said, okay, that's your journey, right?
Was that your recommendation?
No, that's something they want to do. I'd be
Well,
happy
why aren't
to
you
sell
advising
it.
your clients?
What's that?
Why aren't you advising them?
I advise them plenty. Don't worry.
You want to meet Jenn?
No, I know they could sell it and they have some nice positive equity. They bought it well, but they want to hold on to it. So I don't. Maybe they're concerned, right, that they're going to move down there and be like, ooh, that was a mistake, and they can still have this property where the payment actually is manageable.
Yeah.
Well,
right?
That's another, I don't know if it's on your topic list or not, but the other thing, inventory shrinking, because even with our client base, we try to list a property, prices are falling in certain neighborhoods, and if they can't get the price that they want based on, what the neighbor got next door or across the street, their interest rate's 2-3%. So you can pivot and put a renter in there and cover the mortgage plus have a little bit of pocket money. The market will bounce back. So we're seeing a lot of people they'll try it for a couple of weeks, couple of months, what have you. They don't get their number. They switch to renting and they get someone in there very quickly. Next topic here. I've been my entire last 3 to 5 years, whenever HomeSnap came out, I've been living and dying by HomeSnap. Everything I would do, scheduling showings, pulling down documents, research, everything was on HomeSnap. It was so user-friendly for the agent. Mm-hmm. At a certain, and it's owned by CoStar. CoStar also owns Homes.com. I believe that they have a falling out with Bright MLS, G-Car, what have you, but they've switched from HomeSnap, which is still available in other markets, just not ours. Mm-hmm. We now have to use Homes.com, which is very clunky. So I'm, as an agent, struggling to find my way through on an app versus having to go back to the computer and pull up Bright MLS.
Right.
Do you guys use HomeSnap?
We use HomeSnap all the time. That was...
Or used to.
And used to. And it was so easy, user-friendly. You can tell the agents that didn't use it, like Jenn.
Yeah.
Because I could send an an email to Jenn on that, say, hey, I'm at your property, no response. So you knew that she wasn't using it.
I wasn't using it. I didn't know it had all those features.
And then I'd go back to the normal text, Jenn, hey, I'm at the property, and she would immediately respond.
Right there. It should be it's no response. Obviously, she's not working today, like every other day. So.
No, immediately.
Have you seen my sales numbers?
Okay.
Immediately,
I saw them on HomeSnap. It was really easy to see.
We can't see it now on Homes.com.
In defense of Jenn, immediately switched to text, and she responded. So
I respond.
Yeah.
I didn't know HomeSnap had all those features. I would use it and look at rankings and I like the metrics.
But at the bottom now of the new one, it does when you scroll to the very bottom.
It's like a 5-year rolling average.
It'll be Jenn Smira, $5 billion for the last 5 years. I mean, they'll just put a blanket
HomeSnap
number.
was so easy though.
Yeah.
You could go, you could look someone up, you could see everything they were doing, and be like,
Yes.
aha. Really learn a lot
you
very
could.
quickly.
Yeah, well, a friend of mine is at homes.com. He was with HomeSnap, and what they're doing is they're building like a listing agent friendly platform where our listings will be front and center, and any inquiries will go back to us as the listing agent. I don't know what's happening with like the app, but I know that the company's focus is to really compete with Zillow
Okay.
So
And
they're-
I'm sure
from
were
the
we all
consumer side is
on the
really
consumer. Mm-hmm.
were we all guilty of this? I mean, I definitely am. Where immediately we'd get an offer in from an agent or an inquiry, right? And we would flip to it, and we would look at all the transactions they've done. And if in the last 2 years it had 4, I'm like, eh.
4
But
total
you know,
transactions.
if it was a Jen, it would say 3,000 transactions. You immediately would respond.
Yes.
You know, and
yeah, but
so,
she wouldn't because she's busy.
So now we go back
And this
to
guy's gossiping.
Yeah, I mean, I would always look at her numbers, right? So that would be, you know, I want to look at my competition. It's just
I
natural.
remember
nature.
one time you gave me such shit that had to do with CSS and showing time.
know,
You were
it's
such
so-
a jerk.
You're
Wait, you had
so funny
CSS?
about that.
Yeah.
Because
yes.
I
You
thought
remember
about that
this?
on the
I have
way
a
here.
bone to pick with you.
I wrote
wait a
her
minute,
this
here we go.
note
Here we go.
about getting to show. I think
That's
I,
before I even knew you, and I was like, "What a jerk!"
She was.
So
She-
let's set this up.
she-
What's the story here?
So I,
Oh, do you remember this?
I do remember it very clearly.
You were having
because
a bad day.
I loved her response because I think it was one where I wanted to go show, so I clicked on it, and I don't know what your instructions were on it.
Call
like it was,
CSS.
Call C, and that's what it was. And I'm like, I don't want to call them. All I want to do is show it, right? And at that point, I go, I don't understand. Like, I wrote a paragraph. I don't understand why I just can't go out and show the property. I've already got you on the email. And she wrote back, I don't appreciate this passive aggressive. And I was like, wow.
Oh, did I really say that?
Yes, you did.
That was good.
You
I
were
still
having a
have
Good
bad
for
day,
me.
too.
Yeah.
No, but your response back was like, "Well, I'm not going to show it then."
That would probably be me at that point. But you know what? In all defense of that, I think I might have had Mattia next to me. And Mattia, I said, because Mattia we play off each other. And I go, I don't understand why I can't just show the property. And he's like, you got to follow the protocol. It says call CSS.
Anyway, that was a pivotal time. I actually
So what was the
changed because
purchase
of
price?
you. I changed the
You
structure.
did?
Yes, I actually
That's-
did. 'Cause
Oh.
you're such a freaking jerk.
You did change it.
What was the
Because
purchase
I remember.
price?
Well, I don't know. It was like, I never showed it. So
Yeah, you're such an asshole. Anyway,
wait,
next.
I need-
next.
we need-
Let's
Yeah.
move on.
No,
We're
I love
boring
this, actually. It's
everybody here.
hilarious.
it
We're
was
talking
great,
about
but she
CSS.
did change it. And then the only way
I
I
did
knew
change
it,
it. Diva.
was. I
You're
don't know
such a
who it
diva.
was. It was either one of your people that wrote, she doesn't use that anymore. I'm like, hallelujah.
So CSS for our listeners, for listeners who don't know what CSS,
They're like, CSI? What are they talking
is
about
what
right now?
CSS was a centralized showing service.
it.
I think was a brand or whatever, and it was a service where you would call an 800 number to book a showing to a call center, and it was the most clunky, annoying,
Thank
waste
you.
of time thing.
Thank
I
you.
hated CSS so much, and a lot of agents in our little pocket here did not use it.
Correct.
You would run into it some places. So Jen, you were using CSS.
Yes,
Oh my God.
I was. But then I pivoted and I
Thank
went
you.
to showing time.
We all
Thank
went
you.
to
Much
showing
better.
time.
So what's next? Let's move on.
Before they, yeah.
Hey, that changed the industry for us.
It did. It
Thank
did.
You, Jen.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I like you now. We
Thank
like
you.
each other.
We do.
Yeah,
We do.
We just,
They hugged.
We had
Who
to.
else sends you a photo when you're on the plane? Who else sends that?
And tells me how pretty I look.
You look great. And she's going with me, and then finally at the end, oh, I'm on a plane. I can't see the damn photo.
But
Oh
what
my
is it a picture of? Oh, thank you.
A couple of
Brad.
articles going over interest rates have been slowly coming down.
Yep.
What do you guys think about the rates coming down, the activity that we're seeing in the marketplace or lack thereof, coming right up on the holidays?
I think it's music to my ears because every day I'm getting little notes from, from other agents, but from our buyers, from our sellers, and we get the lenders now that are continuing to send. All the lenders are like, did you see it dropped to 6.6? And what I'll do is I'll take that, let's say Guaranteed Rate, for example, we'll send over one and I'll forward it to the other 4 that we use. And I'm like, where do you guys, stand on your jumbo loans, et cetera? So it's great to get a lot of activity with everybody. And for example, I'm a buy down individual. I just went ahead and purchased a loan. I don't know if you knew, but I bought a new home and I did a buy down. I would have never have done a jumbo loan if I didn't have the buy down, because I'm the typical realtor going, I'm not paying 7.25. With the buy down, I was able to get it to 5%, had the seller pay $30,000. Fantastic program. I believe in it, and now I'm watching it come down. So I have 24 months to make sure that I get a refi and get it back down to where it should be, and I'm good, locked for 30 years.
Okay.
So, love and life.
So the buy down is for 2 years essentially.
Correct.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay.
And if you refi before the 2 years, you get the money because it's setting an escrow.
Correct.
That's right.
So if in 12 months we're back down to 6 or 5.9, where my rate's going to change anyway, I'm going to lock it at that, and I would have used $1,400 a month times 12. I'm still going to end up getting 20 back to cover everything. It's a no-brainer program.
And I guess on a macro level, anyone, with the rates coming down, whether you're on the listing side, have you seen activity pick up on your listings, or buyers jump back into the pool because rates are now below 7?
I'm glad that you pivoted on that. 116 Quincy. We had beautiful home we've had for 35 days. Developer did a beautiful job, painstakingly. Every item he was there. It wasn't just a quick flip job. We had many showings on it. We had one realtor show it 5 times. Every time I would respond, he would put, hey, the interest rate, the interest rate, interest rate, interest rate. Finally, when it dropped, he went out to show it. At that point, another agent came in and took it. And I put, what took you so long? After 39 days. And he goes, the rate dropped into the 6s. So, and I'm like, wow, okay, huge.
Yeah.
So that put it under contract.
Jen, how about you? You seen activity increase?
Yeah. I just listed 3 units on Quincy. And 3 days too.
I just listed the rest of the block.
Actually, I sold the next.
How'd that happen?
The neighboring property too. Yes.
Is that where my buyer went?
Oh, 431?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm just
So
wondering.
we just listed 3 units. 2 are going under contract in 4 days.
Great.
Wow, fantastic.
So I think what I think it is though is it's there's been prices have come down, rates have come down. There's again there's still buyers out there and they're using these different buy down tools. Yeah. The one contract that we had to provide a big credit because they're going to buy down the rate. So buyers are getting creative to enter this market. And I'm working with a developer on this project, and it's the first time I had a developer tell me that they wanted to go lower in my pricing.
Oh,
Okay.
Lower, and it
They
worked.
suggested.
They
it from the
suggested.
top.
I was like, we could go here, or we can go. I'm talking with my hands. You guys can't see me, but or you can go slightly lower. And so we went on the lower end, and guess what? Boom, we're getting them all 3 sold. And
There you go.
great
to
news.
get
Smart
a new
developer.
condo project sold in a weekend. When's the last time you guys have done that?
Yeah,
Right.
long
Totally.
time.
I mean,
Were
so
you under a certain threshold, like on price? Were you under like $250,000 or $500,000 mark?
yeah, these are like 800.
So you're under $1 million.
Yeah, under $1 million.
That's very good.
But there's there's value over 1,600 square feet.
Yep.
So I think we have to educate our clients, especially our developer clients, that the performance that they were working on 2 years ago are not they're not a reality today,
Right.
Yeah.
and they're probably, to your point earlier, 20% below.
I agree.
I
with
hate
that.
to say it,
Yeah.
maybe 10. So it's our job to educate our sellers, developers, and then the buyers. To your point.
Right.
I also think it depends on which market you're in. It's we've had other guests on here that says it's like, which market are you talking about? Like,
Yes.
we predominantly crush the Cleveland Park, Capitol Hill, the urban markets in DC. But if you're in Montgomery County, Fairfax, those neighborhoods, like those are exploding right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
Very
mean,
strong.
Yeah.
absolutely. There's just not enough supply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have several new builds all throughout Bethesda, and we're showing them pre-construction. I think I have more buyers in the 2-3 million plus than I've ever had. So the single family housing stock, whether it's Northern Virginia or Montgomery County, is moving.
Yeah.
So those buyers that you just mentioned, where are they coming from?
They're move up. They're
From out of the city?
no
or
from the city. They
okay.
live here
In DC?
in DC. Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's a whole nother discussion point, right? It's like,
Yep.
when the rates drop to 2 to 3%, are you going to see a mass exodus from DC proper to the suburbs?
I mean, I'm already seeing young couples, no children, moving out into Chevy Chase and AU
Totally.
Park and Kensington.
They've been doing it for
Kensington,
years.
yeah.
I
but
mean,
it's
but
more
now
popular
it's
now.
Potomac even.
Potomac,
I want a
very
farm.
Yeah.
I want
I
a
saw
farm.
prices like Avenel Country Club, 10 years ago, you couldn't give some of those houses away. and now the townhouses out there are like 1.3, 1.4. Those are
Yeah.
the townhouses.
Yeah,
So it's changed a lot.
absolutely.
Rob Sanders, Jenn Smira, thanks so much for coming down, doing State of the Market with us. I like our little round table setup here, actually, our little fireside round table is really wonderful.
Thank you.
Rob, really quickly, predictions for 2024, go ahead.
Predictions for 2024 is I believe that we will get 3 to 4 price improvements, right, on the rate. And I think that it will be, this is my take, I think that it will be a great year for everybody. That's what I'm predicting, and I believe it, and I think it will happen. And maybe someone could argue that it's part of it's an election year, and we've all see every election year, there's always an improvement, whether it's Republican or Democrat.
That's right.
It will be an improvement, right? So we'll have this follow-up podcast probably in November when the election's done, and we'll talk about it again.
Okay. Jen, anything else to add to that?
I actually agree with you. So predictions for 2024. I'm viewing 2024 as like shedding new skin. I feel like 2024 it's a new start for many of us and many listeners. I think COVID is behind us. I think it's like a new skin. And with that, I believe that rates will come down in the first quarter. We'll continue to see rates decrease. We'll see more inventory in the spring. And I believe the spring market is going to be busy as we're accustomed to seeing it. And so it's a time for those buyers that are on the sideline to get ready, get their financial situation in order, and be prepared to get out into the market.
Good. I'm going to start calling all my clients now and say, Jen said this, and I'll be like, who?
You heard it here first.
There you go.
So, holiday plans, Rob.
Holiday plans, I have a bunch of parties to go to, so I'm going to make sure that I go to all of them. This
All
time,
parties?
I have a lot of family. You have so many different families, right? So it's like family 1, family 2, family 3, family 4. They all want you there. I'm going to do what I've never done before, is to get to one at 11, quickly eat, jump to the one at 1 o'clock, go to the one in Poolsville at 3, the other one in Alexandria at 6, and just make sure I show up to all of them.
We'd be passing out business cards during these.
I have Rob
Parties.
and Brent T-shirts to give. Yeah.
Perfect.
Maybe you can go to some of Jen's parties too and pass out
If
T-shirts.
Jen would invite me, I would go. I would be her guest.
Well, after that
for
whole
sure.
CSS thing, I don't
I will
think
keep
that's-
that in mind.
Well, she
you
said
would
she
be a
likes
fun.
me now, so I think that she probably would invite me.
You'd be a
she
fun
would.
plus one.
I would, thank
Yeah,
you. And
yeah.
I'll go with you.
Really?
Just don't take me to some sports event. Take me to a restaurant. Yeah, I'll go with you.
Give
I'll
him the
take you to- I'll
CSS
take you
phone
to-
I
number
gotta
to
say,
invite.
a real quick anecdote though. Like, so when I was in Vegas at the, we were at the Sotheby's conference. Was that last spring?
Yeah,
Was that
the
really-
Win. We were at the Win.
The Win.
Very exclusive.
So we did a dinner, and Rob came along, and if Rob wasn't there, it would have been boring. That's all I got to say. Rob made the dinner. Okay.
Thank you
Like
so
it
much.
was so fun.
You guys
Thank
are
you.
This guy's a
boring.
great guest.
Thank you. Yeah.
Would have been boring with just me there.
Courtney was there too, right? Do we have
Yeah.
Courtney?
We had a good
Courtney
Oh,
was
she's
wild.
great.
We had a good
Yeah.
group, but Rob's
Yeah.
like the ringleader.
Thank you. I keep the conversation going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jen, what are you doing for the holidays?
I'm going to Florida. I'm going to my favorite place, Casey Key,
Okay.
in Sarasota. It's really nice. I'm going to play some tennis, some pickleball, family time.
Very nice.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't think you could play tennis or pickleball. I thought you had to pick one.
Oh, I'm skilled.
You're skilled.
Yeah, yeah.
I now
yeah.
play both.
Oh, you're
Oh, do you
playing
play
both now.
pickleball?
To my listeners, I'm really sorry. I did start playing a little pickleball.
We need to play.
It's fun.
It's so fun. I'm addicted.
I mean,
I love it.
I got invited to play with one of our lender friends, Brandon Fry. He invited me to the Army Navy club a few weeks ago, and I was playing with him and some friends, and just having a blast.
He just had to drop the Army Navy club.
Yes.
I did, but I got invited over there. But
Do you have to wear whites? Is it?
No, not
okay.
for pickleball.
Okay.
But I do have to know.
You do do our whites outside.
No,
do?
but I'm driving Brent's car, like his old car. That's like.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, and I still have his Army Navy sticker on it. I didn't take that off. So I
You just had to
cru-
drop that too, right?
I just cruise on in there.
Yeah, we didn't talk about cars.
Yeah.
Oh, well, anyway, yeah, so pickleball,
Yeah, we're-
tennis.
Yeah. Great.
So it's good to know you play.
Yeah. That it?
Well, how about you guys?
Oh, you want to know about us too?
Yes.
Well, thanks for asking.
Thanks for asking.
Well, this guy wasn't going to. He's so selfish.
Well, I was going to start talking about cars.
We're going to call
I don't think that's a
CSS
good
and tell you where
idea.
we're going.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good
No,
idea.
what are you
That's
guys
the line.
doing? What are you guys doing?
I'm going to Miami for
Nice.
5 days with the family, and I'm going to play some tennis.
Where are
not
you staying
pickleball.
at?
We're staying at the Eden Rock, and poolside, get some food.
Cool.
Will you guys
Yeah.
be there for New Year's Eve?
No, just Christmas till the 30th.
Interesting.
Yeah. How about you?
Brent?
Undecided. We're going somewhere. We've looked at New York. We've looked at Florida. Wife wants to go to Turks and Caicos.
Turks and
You better
Caicos,
take
okay.
her.
But there's no direct flight. I'm like, I'm not going anywhere where there's not a direct flight.
Oh, it's a quick one to Miami.
I don't know.
But then
Just
you could
do it.
Just go to.
I can't pronounce it, so why am I going there?
This airs on Monday. Book your take your family
Yeah,
to
you need to
Turks.
book your ticket, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you need to get on it.
We'll go to Snowshoe in West Virginia.
Oh,
No,
well,
No.
take your wife to Turks and Caicos.
go take her to Turks and Caicos. It's been a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, treat
Yeah.
yourself.
Good job.
All right, y'all.
This was fun.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
so
Great
much,
job.
guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening to Keyed In with your hosts, Max and Brent, unlocking the minds of the industry's top real estate professionals. For more information on selling your home, find us online at keyedinpodcast.com. Remember to subscribe to Keyed In on Apple Podcasts or wherever you like to listen to podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Keyed In Podcast, at Rabin Max, and at Brent E. Jackson. And follow Max on TikTok at MaxwellRabin_properties.